Thank you very much, Chair, and dear distinguished guests, many thanks for the invite to speak. It's said that culture has the power to stop someone, to impress on someone, make one question, to assemble thoughts, make one wonder, to explore, to create, to dream, to remember, to connect, to be disturbed, and not to forget. In fact, the varied aspects of the power of culture are multiple in nature, and in truth, the emotions attached to encountering, consuming culture and connecting it vary from person to person. So my first point here this afternoon is that to create any cultural movement and awareness of such powers of emotion actually are important. In a world where globalization reigns, where the local becomes a globalized local, in the time of rapid technological development more than ever, culture matters. It is the DNA of our identities and how we connect to wider society. Within the EU project, the spirit of the culture of the 27 member states does forge a respect for diversity and also solidarity of understanding the importance of culture. But we do need to go deeper. So my second point concerns the element that local and regional governments are the gatekeepers or key guardians to unlocking the spirit of culture. Within the EU regions, cities and towns, and all the way down to neighbourhood level, one can tangibly see the competitive assembly of cultural traits through units of landscapes, places, placemaking, art and design, sustainability, all weaving and even jarring with each other to create our modern day society. In truth, local and regional authorities oversee the weaving and jarring aspects, and not just the tangible, but also the intangible, the invisible and non-physical aspects. So I think European Capital of Cultures, like my own, who were Capital of Culture in 2005, are masters in spotting the nuanced opportunities of creating cultural projects. My third point concerns the idea that if we wish to emulate or reinvent a cultural movement from 100 years ago, we all need to understand more of the heritage of the Bauhaus movement, its actual moving parts, narrative and its legacies. When the movement emerged post-World War II, it began small, but it was supportive and connective and positive, and emerged out of calls for reconstruction, and there was political evolution in a sense attached to it as well. The founder, Walter Gropius, quoted at the time, quote, "Together let us desire, conceive and create the new structure of the future, which will embrace architecture and sculpture and painting in one unity, and which will one day rise towards heaven from the hands of a million workers like the Christian symbol of a new faith," end quote. And Walter may have created the idea of a new structure of the future and a crystal symbol, but certainly he didn't have a crystal ball. His evolving narrative within a decade had a profound ranging effect. Right across Central Europe and Eastern Europe. But interesting from an Irish context, and where I'm from in the city of Cork, much of the Bauhaus movement was distilled through the knock-on effect of the Bauhaus in America. In fact, I have buildings from 1920s, 1930s that came from, were inspired by the Bauhaus in America. So my fourth point is that the Bauhaus movement still actually has echoes within the EU, and we actually need to build on it. I'm a geographer by trade, so my professional work looks at aspects of placemaking, landscapes, collective memory, how we remember, how we can see the seeds of movement in the history of the discipline of geography and other humanities disciplines, and Bauhaus is very much rooted there. As a rapporteur for the CUR of the EU Urban Agenda, I was asked to work with others to create the new Leipzig Charter at the end of last year. And one can clearly see the elements of the Bauhaus movement through the lens of ideas around the productive city and concept. But we have advanced a lot on ideas of partnership models, multi-level governance, green innovation agendas over the last 5 or 6 years, and how we look at cities and towns. Indeed, one can argue that the EU flagship projects such as the EU Urban Agenda partnerships, URBAC, Interreg, Horizon Europe, and also the CUR flagship projects such as Reg Hubs, the Cohesion Alliance, the Green Deal Committee, all should be used as strong foundations for the new Bauhaus movement. So in conclusion, if you're dealing with a cultural movement, and awareness of the powers of its emotions are important, local and regional governments are gatekeepers, and the Bauhaus movement still echoes within the EU. We need to build on those legacies. So, as a member of the CUR, I look forward to working further on the new Bauhaus movement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.